Ugh. Hey guys, what's up? It's Biscuit Horror Reviews. I'm here with my um, 2019 April Massacre video haul. I've got a lot of stuff, and had a good time. Saw a couple movies. Saw the new Todd Sheets film Clownado, which was very fun, and yeah, had a good time. Caught that screening of I Drink Your Blood, which was also very good. So I guess I will just dive right in with the Blu-rays and DVDs. Starting off, I bought some titles from Severn Films. I bought a few titles from them I haven't seen before just because they looked kind of interesting and because I've been meaning to look into more movies from both of these directors. Good fucking... Especially their more sleazy stuff. First, I have Bruno Mattei's Violence in a Women's Prison. Yeah, Violence in a Women's Prison, also known as Caged Women. This movie is, I haven't seen it, but I know it's a rather nasty, kind of sleazy women in prison film, and I could usually get down with that. These kinds of movies are usually worth checking out or worth watching at least once. There's one called, I think I have it on the shelf over here. I think it's called Escape from Hell, and it is, I know it's getting a Blu-ray release from Severn, but it's only if you buy it in a bundle with their upcoming release of one of the Joe D'Amato Emmanuel films, and I have no interest in the Emmanuel films. I mainly want to get that Blu-ray of Escape from Hell, also known as, I think it's like Escape from Women's Prison or something like that. It's a pretty sleazy little woman in prison film. I haven't watched it in a while, but I remember that one being like the best one ever. This one haven't seen yet, so I'll have to give that one a watch. Another one I got, this is a not Joe D'Amato, this is a Jess Franco film, and this is a film that he stars in. It is The Saddest of Notre Dame. I was going to get Sinful Erotica with this as well, but I just decided not to, and I decided to go with Violence in a Women's Prison because that sounded more interesting. Again, I like some of Jess Franco's movies. He has a couple actually good movies under his belt, like Bloody Moon, I think, is actually pretty good for what it is. His Jack the Ripper film is pretty decent, so I'm interested in seeing what this is. I know this stars Franco, so it might be worth a watch. This one I have seen is a recent one I've seen, actually. I recently watched this one, and I was like, that was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. It is The Horror of Party Beach. I remember when Severn announced this title, I was like, that looks kind of interesting, I guess, but I don't know if I'll get it. And then I actually watched the movie for myself, and yeah, this movie is a pretty entertaining little rock and roll horror film, having to do with toxic waste coming into contact with corpses in a shipwreck, therefore turning them into weird sea monsters. And there's also a surfer rock group that shows up in the film that they do a song called the Zombie Stomp, and it's like the catchiest fucking song ever. Either way, this is a pretty entertaining movie. It's got some bad monster effects. It's got a little bit of violence here and there. Like, it isn't super graphic, but surprisingly for a movie from the, what was this from, 63, for a movie from 63, it's definitely surprising. Very, very fun, though, Good time. Here's another one that is a pretty bad movie, but one I enjoy. It's Invasion of the Blood Farmers. I reviewed this last year on my channel, and I really, really liked it. And I was happy I got around to it, and I actually liked it quite a bit. When I heard that Severn was putting it on Blu-ray, I was like, okay, that's really cool, because I enjoyed the film quite a bit, and I wanted to know more about the production, and I also wanted there to be a nice release of it, so that way I wouldn't have to drop, like, I think it's like $14 for the cheap DVD release that is, like, really low quality. But this is like a new audio commentary with the director and everything like that, which is really cool. God damn it. I'm sorry, I'm yawning so much. Invasion of the Blood Farmers. Really fun, bad, kind of killer druid movie. Up next is the big thing I bought from Severn. I was just going to buy one of the movies out of this new set they put out, but I figured like I would just buy the whole set because it would be cheaper to buy the whole set rather than all the titles individually. Plus there is 2 titles in the set that are exclusive to the set, and it's individually numbered. It's their Hemisphere Box of Horrors. I've never seen any of these movies, but I mainly wanted to get Brain of Blood, which this is Al Adamson's attempt at doing a Blood Island movie, and I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's really bad. Al Adamson's a pretty interesting director. He directed a movie in the 60s called... what was that movie called? Satan's Sadists, which was a biker film from the 60s that I found very enjoyable. He also directed a nurse-exploitation film called Nurse Sherry, which is also pretty enjoyable, kind of Exorcist ripoff. But yeah, Brain of Blood was the only title I was going to buy, because that's the only title I have any interest in. And I was like, you know what, I'll get the whole box, because it's numbered, it's limited, it's a nice release, and, why the hell not just get it? Because I was just going to try to, like, get the one title, and then I was trying to where it was like, because at their booth, it's like 3 titles for $50, and that is not bad at all. So I figured, okay, I'll get Brain of Blood, and then I was like, well, wait a minute, I can't think of, like, I can't think of 4 other titles I'd want to get. I say that, but there are 4 titles right here. Either way, I was like, oh, man, I can't think of, like, 4 other titles I would want to get, though. And I was like, well, I could get 3 titles, and, I could get 3 titles and this, and it'd come out to, like, $10 more, but I'd get this nice box set out of it, and I'd get 2 extra movies out of it. And yeah, and then I came back and grabbed, I think it was Saddest of Notre Dame that I came back and grabbed. I got some Vinegar Syndrome releases. I just mentioned Nurse Sherry, and here we have the Blu-ray of Nurse Sherry. This is a movie I watched earlier this year. I found it very interesting. I wouldn't say good, but interesting is the word I would use. Al Adamson is definitely a intriguing director. This is a kind of slasher, exorcist ripoff, supernatural horror film about a nurse being possessed by an evil spirit that makes her kill people, essentially. Trying to, like, here we got Blood Theater. This is one of the titles from Vinegar Syndrome that I was interested in based on the title. Apparently this is a really, really cheap, awful, like, low-budget slasher flick, having to do with a theater reopening after there was a series of murders committed there, and they start happening again. This also includes the director's other movie, The Visitants, from 1987, which is a science fiction comedy about a teenager finding an alien's ray gun, and they try to get it back from him. But yeah, it's cool that there's a, extra film on here. But I'm interested in checking out, Blood Theater. Next, we got their new release, This one's like super limited. They're not going to do another pressing of this in a standard edition as far as I know. It's the release of Flesh Pot on 42nd Street. This is Andy Milligan's erotic thriller crime drama film from, I think, the mid-60s. Let me double check the year here. No, mid-70s, early 70s. From 73. You know, I love Andy Milligan movies, as some of you may know, and I've been meaning to check this one out because I've heard this is actually a good movie that he directed. So, I'm actually interested. Grabbed Splatter University with the slipcover. This one I haven't seen in many years. I remember I reviewed this on my channel way back in the day when I wasn't good at reviewing movies. And I remember liking it, so I'm going to have to rewatch this one. But Splatter University with the slipcover, as always with Vinegar Syndrome, the slipcovers are very, very nice, very premium. I think most of the slipcovers are limited to, I think, 1,500 or 2,000, somewhere in there. Here we have their release they did to start the new year, Bloody New Year, the Norman J. Warren film. They seem to be releasing a lot of Norman J. Warren's stuff. Not that I'm complaining. I really like Prey and Terror, and I really like Blood New Year. I reviewed this one on my channel, and I hope that they eventually get the rights to Inseminoid or Satan's Slave. But still, this is nice. I heard they're going to do a standard edition release of this, but I didn't want to miss out on the slipcover, because I really do like Bloody New Year. It's not perfect, but it's very interesting. Here we got House of the Dead, also known as Alien Zone. This is another one I'm quite interested in. I've heard this is a really actually pretty decent anthology horror film, also known as the Alien Zone, which I do like that reverse cover art with the colors. You know, I like that color design, although you cannot read like the top half of the text because it's so dark. But yeah, I've heard this is actually a pretty good, creepy anthology horror film, and I know that like they are down to their last like 200 copies of the slipcover version, so I was like, yeah, I'll grab it, you know, at Cinema Wasteland. I'd been debating on whether or not I wanted to buy it off the website, but I was like, it probably won't sell out, which it didn't. Next is one of the signatures I got. Jeff Lieberman was there, the man who directed Satan's Little Helper, which is a really good horror comedy. He directed Just Before Dawn, which I reviewed last year, and that was a pretty cool slasher film that I talked about. He directed Squirm, the movie about killer earthworms, which is a very entertaining movie. And this is his slasher film from the 70s, Blue Sunshine, which he autographed it for me. I was going to bring my DVD copy of Blue Sunshine to have it autographed, but then I saw at his booth, it was like for $5 more. It was like, get one of the Blu-rays he has signed. And he had Blu-rays of Squirm and of this. The Blu-ray of Squirm he had was a foreign release. It was Region B locked. So, and I don't own Squirm, so, you know, I was like, it's locked. I'm not going to buy that. So I figured I'd upgrade to the, you know, Blue Sunshine Blu-ray, which is very, very nice. This is like a really, really good release of the film. Let me get that slipcover off, you know. It, comes with all kinds of extra goodies. You got the soundtrack, you got the CD, you got the DVD under that paper. You have replica tabs of Blue Sunshine LSD. You have a reprint of the press booklet for it, as well as a bookmark for the election of Ed Fleming, who is the guy who, you know, is responsible for the Blue Sunshine thing. And you even have a you know, replica of the actual lab print cards when the film was developed. But I still think it's really cool, you know, that they included these little tabs of acid. I highly doubt that these are very real, or even feel real. I've never really, encountered actual LSD in my life, but it's cool that they included them. It's a cool little kind of extra. Included on this Blu-ray release is also a bunch of LSD scare films from the 60s, about 20 minutes worth of them, which is a pretty decent amount. It was a very nice release. Definitely, one of the best releases of a Jeff Lieberman film yet. God damn it. Okay. Stopped at James Bell's booth because you guys know I love James Bell. I love his work. And I got his new film from this year that he recently finished called Harm. Gonna have to watch this one. As you guys know, for the last few years, his movies have made my best of the year lists in 2017 and 2018. So I hope that this will make it onto the best of 2019. I also got these two other movies directed by Joe Meredith. This guy made these two kind of I haven't watched them yet, but apparently they're weird, violent, alien movies that are very effects driven, and he had James do the effects in them. So you got South Mill District, which this is the first one. It's, what does it say here? Eon Corp File 001. So it's the first film, and then you have the second one in this series. I think this is, what is it? Teratomorph? Kind of looks like a xenomorph. Again, the second release, artwork on the discs and everything. Very nice. But, and he also threw in this art print, which I'm assuming that Joe Meredith probably does the art too. But yeah, cool little art print. Why not? This is the last Severn title I picked up because I was just I got $20 if I'm gonna grab something random. So I grabbed the release of Jack the Ripper. I wanted to get this a few years ago when they did their Blu-ray release of this slipcover, but I just completely slept on it because I was just eh. So I missed out, but I got it now, so I will be watching that. Grabbed this for $10. I was actually surprised to find this for $10. It is Tobe Hooper's Spontaneous Combustion, starring Brad Dourif. So you have the voice of Chucky, starring in a body horror film directed by the man behind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What could go wrong? This is a very entertaining movie, and for $10, it's very much worth it. It's got some cool violence and gore and body horror effects. Up next, I got a couple things. I got something from... Yeah. Got a couple things from Henrick Couto's booth. As if you guys don't know, Henrick Couto, Dayton-based filmmaker, really, really cool guy. Really like his movies. So I bought a couple of them on Blu-ray, one of which I already own on DVD, but I figured I'd upgrade to the Blu-ray of it. And the other one I don't own at all. The one I own already is Scare Waves, which this is number 9 of 100. He hasn't sold too many copies of this, but it's absolutely covered in signatures, which is very, very cool. And then there's this one, Haunted House on Sorority Row. Again, covered with signatures. They feature reversible cover art with the original artwork. But I'm not too big on the original artwork for Haunted House on Sorority Row. I've never seen this, but I've been meaning to. The original artwork for Scare Waves I do actually like quite a bit. I also bought this at his booth because he often sells stuff from Camp Motion Pictures at the booth. It is a Splatter Farm big box, which is a lot nicer than I expected it to be. not trying to talk down camp motion pictures or anything, but, you know. It's a big box VHS release of the film, which features a sealed copy of Splatter Farm on VHS. I'm not going to open this because it's a work of art. You know, I don't need to watch it on VHS. It also comes with a DVD, which comes with the Polonia Brothers' other film, one of their other films, a monster movie, as a bonus. But, you know. But still, Splatter Farm, what can I say about this one? This one is a pretty entertaining little low-budget splatter flick. I think this was their first movie, too. This is a limited edition release as well. So, you know, that is also very cool. And I met a fellow filmmaker there who was very, very nice. He was a very cool guy. I think his name is Steve Rudzinski. I'm not going to try and pronounce that last name again, but the guy's name is Steve, and I bought a few of his movies just because he was a really cool dude, and I was interested in one of them particularly. This one, Carousel. This is a movie about a sentient carousel horse going on a killing spree. It sounds like it could be a good time, honestly. I think this... No, it doesn't. Okay. We also got Everyone Must Die, which this is his slasher film he made. You know, and he told me that this was a really cheap, fun movie to make. It was, it's a slasher film, but it's not like these characters are wondering who's doing this and why. They're just like, we don't care, we don't want to get killed, which I think is pretty, an interesting route to go, definitely. And then I bought his two Talking Cat movies, because he was selling these on like a double pack, and selling these as a double feature Blu-ray, and I was like, you know what, man, I'll buy it just because it looks interesting. It's a Meowie Halloween and a Meowie Christmas. These are movies he made with his cat. These are like talking cat movies he made with his cat. So instead of, and he even told me himself when I was like, you know, that's definitely, I told him like that's definitely an interesting route to go, because he told me that the Halloween one contains like so many references to horror films, it's ridiculous. And I was like, that's actually a very interesting route to go, kind of. And he told me that that he did. I thought that these were two separate Blu-rays for these movies, but he told me they were both on one, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, I didn't feel right selling these cheap, low-budget kids movies at a horror convention for full price, so I figured I'd sell them as a double feature for like $10, and I was like, hey, you know, man, it's all good. That it? I got a couple other things. Let me just adjust some shit here. I also got my copy of I Drink Your Blood autographed by one of the cast members. I think it was the one woman who runs the bakery in the movie. I cannot remember the character's name or the actress's name necessarily, even though it's on here. But she autographed it. She put, Cody, stay away from the meat pies, which was very, very nice. Other cast members from the film were there, and I wanted to get their autographs as well. But by the time I got around to getting autographs, I was pretty much out of money, so I was like, alright, I guess I'll do the I Drink Your Blood and Jeff Lieberman, because those two are like two of the big ones. Mink Stoll was there from Pink Flamingos and Female Trouble, and I wanted to get her autograph, but again, ran out of money. You know, usually I like to get the autographs done first, but this year I was like, nah, I'm diving right in, I'm wasting all my money. Either way, really love I Drink Your Blood, and this Blu-ray release of it is very, very nice. Let me just put that right here. Alright, yeah. I also bought a piece of art at the convention. I don't buy art too often when I go to conventions just because I don't have many places to hang posters and prints, you know. For instance, the first time I went to Cinema Wasteland, I bought 2 prints, which they're hanging on my wall right now. It's a print of, it's a portrait of H.P. Lovecraft, one of them is, and the other one is one of the Blind Dead. But still, when I usually buy not portraits, but posters and prints, I usually don't end up hanging them because I don't want to buy extra frames and I don't have the space to hang them. So I've kind of stopped doing that entirely. But this is a statue. This is a bit different. This I could definitely try to make some space for on my shelves. It is this very fucking bizarre statue of a worm, like a maggot with a baby's head. This thing is pretty fucking big too. Like big as my goddamn forearm. I don't want to drop this thing because I'm pretty sure it's made out of clay. This thing is heavy. But this artist, he's there every year and he does like weird like clay statues of animals with the heads of babies. It's bizarre as hell, and I really like it. And this was like $30, and I said, you know what? I will take that, man, because I kind of like that green worm. Hell, this might actually replace my pen art thing, and I might just put this bad boy right here. Doesn't look as good. That's slightly better, but I'll figure out where to put it later. That's it for the stuff for Cinema Wasteland. There's a couple other things that I randomly bought in the last couple of weeks. The second King Crimson album, In the Wake of Poseidon, I purchased because I was tired of having to stream this off of Vimeo because it's not available on Spotify or Amazon Music or YouTube. So I bought a copy of it because I was like, I love this just as much as the first album, so I'm going to buy it. And I also got El Topo, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I rewatched it for like the 9th time this week. Not the 9th time I've ever watched it, and I watched it this week again. Yeah, it holds up. It's definitely a movie that I think when you first watch it, you might not be into it as much, but upon rewatching it, it gets a lot more interesting and entertaining the more you rewatch it. But yeah, Alejandro Jodorowsky's El Topo. This is a great movie. Anyway, guys, that's it for the Cinema Wasteland haul. I have a really bad review that I'm going to put out for the new Todd Sheets film, Clownado. It's just 5 minutes of me in the hotel bathroom drunkenly rambling nonsense about the film, and I don't want to try to remember everything that happens in the movie because I cannot remember much of what happened, so I will let my drunken self explain that in a future video. Anyway, guys, this is Biscuit Blue Horror Reviews, signing off. Peace.